Yeah, I'm Thomas Berglund, and I'm part of the advisory board here in SIS, and I met the people a long time ago here. I think that must have been late 2003 or early 2004, and we were contacted by the company, or rather by at that time very young gentleman, Riterai. He was studying in England and he wanted to meet, and he came and he also brought the CEO with him at that time. Yeah, that was our very first approach, and I said, so what do you want them? Well, we want to have a cooperation, they said. And then that is how our journey together started, actually. I thought it was a bit smaller company than Securitas that we was running, and I was not sure that maybe we were in the same phase in the company life. So when I asked Riterai now, well, you said that we were too small. He said, I'm not sure I did that, but maybe I did. But anyway, I felt it was the right vibrations coming from those both gentlemen. So I think that was the basis for a long-lasting cooperation. We continued to meet in different occasions and so on, and over a couple of years, 2-3 years. That led to the understanding that we were very much sharing the same fundamental values. That our company has always to be the basis for a long-lasting relation, that you share fundamental values. And if I should mention one thing, that is what I would mention. Then, of course, we had also the same view on how security could develop over time, but it was the values that was the most important thing at that time. And so that was why I felt this is something we should investigate much further, and we did that. There has been a good time all the time, actually, but what was especially interesting and energy giving was in the beginning when we met a bit more frequent than we meet now, because we together developed how to run a security company. They got some inspiration from what we call the Securitas model, but that was developed and refined and adjusted to the Indian society, and together we found the way forward, and that was very inspiring, hopefully for SIS, but also for us working in Securitas. I think it's the same for SIS as for any security company. I mean, the world is developing, and I would say India is developing a lot faster than most of the rest of the world. You have the youngest population in the world. What is it? Almost half the population is below 25 years or something like that. While in Europe, we are an aging population. I'm closer to the average, I would say, that you are in Europe. It's a very energetic country with a lot of things happening, and that of course also impacts the customer's life. I mean, what the customer looked like 20 years ago in India when we met the first time, that is very, very different from what the customer requires today. And the main challenge for any company is to understand how customers are developing and how their needs by that is changing over time. And I think that is where SIS has to continue to keep a very short focus. What are the customer segments? How are they changing? What can we do? And in order to deliver that service, then you have to also compose what you offer slightly differently. You have more educated guards, more specialized guards towards the different customer segments. A paper mill or a steelwork has a different need on the profile of a guard compared to a big office building for a bank or an insurance company or that type of activities. Or a pharmaceutical company, or someone who manufactures microchips. A very, very different type of environments and very, very different needs. requirements from our side. And today it's not only about having the guards developed, you also have to develop guards in connection with different technical systems. They're becoming more and more advanced, but also cheaper and cheaper. So of course this changes the mix between guards or people and machines, computers or whatever it is, cameras or access controls and so on. So that has to be a living process in a company that wants to be in pace with time. We have always had good times together. One thing that is when in the annual meetings that has been held, and I think there's a new annual meeting coming up pretty soon. He has always given a speech about the company and the values and how we are developing as a group, and that has always been a highlight for me to listen to here. Nice. We are back to where we started the little discussion here. We are back to the fundamental values, and of course, if not only values in general that are important, there also is very fundamental value and belief in each human being, in the guards and the families of the guards. I think that is an impressive approach in our party to maintain that and understand that it's people who make the difference today and tomorrow. The very first one, I think that was actually a meeting we had in Stockholm. Stockholm is in the middle of an archipelago, so there's a lot of water and a lot of islands, and we went out in a boat together, and that was very good time. I think it was a new experience also for Mr. Sinja to be on a boat in an archipelago. It's a never-ending process to develop the company and adjust the company to the development of customers' needs. And you should not be behind the customers there. You should be a bit ahead. Not too much ahead, because then they don't recognize themselves. But if you're just a bit ahead of their development, then you have the best offer for each customer segment. So I think that process has to continue as it has been all the time, and maybe even right now speed up a little more. There has been many game changers, but of course we are back to the values. The fundamental thing is that the values are still there. That means that you can continue to develop all the time, but if you had changed anything there, that would have been a disaster, obviously. So they had to stay. Then Aries Tech has been a game changer and becoming a listed company. If you look around in the world, that puts a lot of different requirements and new requirements on the company. Of course, the company has adjusted to that, but that was a really big step. But the biggest achievement is, of course, that every 5th year there has been a new plan, just in the footsteps of the old plans, and that has developed the company step by step. In a way, the listing was, of course, a major step, but it was a natural development of a company that was growing bigger and bigger. I think that is maybe, looking from the outside, a very important step, because it also means that new owner coming in and with their use and requirements and all that. But fundamentally, the most important is that the company culture is maintained and helps to develop the company for the future. It pays with customers, giving an even better life to all employees, especially the guards and other people working at the company, even being a lot bigger without losing track on the values. I know that the most important message will be sent by Mr. Sinja, as he has a very strong belief in the employees and their families, but I hope that the company will continue to provide a very good future for everyone, every family. Even maybe life can become even better, as India is a nation on the move. I say to my children back at Negro now, you have to get used to it. In the future, the world is going to be around teammates. Because you are the biggest nation now, and you are the youngest nation with the most energy. I think that is a very exciting future for everyone in India. Girls and all other people. The respect and care for the people who perform the work, that has to stay. And that is, you don't see that in all companies, but you always see it in companies that as a success. That's why SIS has been successful. Now, I've seen it many times without going into personal matters, that how RK and others have really cared for people in the company that has needed the special support. I'm just very happy to have been part of it and still being part of it. So I look forward to the coming 10 years, and maybe in 10 years it could be 3 times bigger than today. Even though size is not the most important, but growing big is only happening when you're really the right culture. I think the company can continue to do that. Yeah, I think we can. Yeah, but that's the fundamental for every business. I mean, then it depends on if you're in a totally different business. Of course, there are different things that would make those companies tick, so to say. But everyone needs to have a strong value base. And if that's not because that means that you share values and behavior and thoughts that directs all the forces in the same direction. Company confusion. There are people have all different type of values. So one want to go to that direction, or some understood to another direction. When you had all those forces, it makes up to 0 more or less. But if everyone is doing the same direction, it's in a North's power. I think that is again a message to companies. You have to be light going forward.
SIS has by far been my longest professional stint. It has brought stability to my personal life, my professional life, and most importantly, stability to my own mind. I become far more peaceful and calm.